So if you just Google pudding mit gabel, Gabel, it is a bunch of young people getting together in a park and eating pudding with a fork. So people like me got into Pokemon Go because it was just like huge shot of nostalgia.
The Ice Bucket Challenge. This was the first really viral fundraising. It started off as raising money for people with ALS.
This is what we're supposed to be doing with these tools, making new friends, all the positive social things about social media.
Try and participate in a social positive trend. That is our call to everyone.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the People Fuss Podcast. My name is Doug Daniels.
And I'm Carrie Prince.
And we are here to discuss the fuss about people.
People.
That means the connection and the disconnection that people experience in life and in love and in leadership and in all the things. So today, we are bringing you an episode on, Carrie, what is today's episode?
Today's episode, if I raise my mic a little bit, you can hear me. Today's episode is going to be about positive viral social trends.
Creating a little bit of lightness in the dark.
That's right. It's been really fucking dark lately.
Yes, it has. Yes.
The Charlie Kirk stuff was dark.
Yes.
Pete Hegseth's speech to the military was dark.
Yes.
Jane Goodall died, she was wonderful, and she's actually really sweet, and all the memories have been sweet, but it's like sad, and that's a little bit dark because she's gone from the world.
Her passing is definitely a dark.
Yeah, we lost a giant.
She was not. Her lack of her presence made the world a darker place. Her light has gone out.
Yeah. So my middle sister shared this thing with me, and immediately Doug was like, what if we do an episode about that? And I was like, yes, we need something positive. We need something fun. We need something that reminds us of the power of good in the world because things are getting real weird and dark.
Yes.
And we just need it so much.
Just a break from all the shit.
Yes. So we're talking about positive social trends and what that looks like, and specifically things that are not passively on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So plenty of trends are things where you combine a photo and you use an AI to do a thing and you like share it and everybody's laughing online. The trends we're talking about today are trends that require action.
That's right. More action than just like changing the text on this meme.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about things that are like, it requires some in-person stuff.
Yeah, it requires touching grass. That's kind of what it's all about.
It is the phrase of the day a little bit in some ways, and you'll see why. Actually, some of these people are actually sitting on grass when they do the trend.
Quite literally.
Yeah, I feel like it's appropriate.
It is very much appropriate. So the first trend that we're going to talk about that I don't think anybody listening to this podcast is going to have heard about.
Well, except for the one that told me, and
that's true.
Potentially my small family because she told all of us.
She already shared it. But the trend is taking place in Germany right now, and it's among all of the youths. All of the young people in Germany are participating in this trend called Pudding mit Gabel, which means pudding with fork.
And the fact that it happened in Germany, and my sister shared it with me immediately, I had to share it with Douglas's family because they have such strong ties to Germany from him growing up there for the first 7 years of his life and almost all of his family being fluent in German.
Yes. Well, all of my immediate family. Yeah. I am the least fluent. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
You are absolutely conversational. And even your like cousins and aunt and uncle, like they have a German accent that could fool you. Yes, I promise you.
That's true. It is true.
And I have German blood, German Russian blood, which
is the only reason that we are together. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I definitely have some German roots over here, as if you couldn't tell. Like large German white lady over here.
Well, everybody's got a little bit of flavor of white in them, European, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so the trend itself really is just that. It is a bunch of young people getting together in a park and eating pudding with a fork. Now, that is basically the gist of it. It doesn't. There's really nothing else to it. There is no why. The why really is what we're talking about today. The why is simply an excuse for young people to get together in person, hang out, not just with their friends, and actually in I think in the YouTube video that we're going to share, there's a lot of different news stories with this. So if you just Google pudding mit gabel, Gabel, you'll find a bunch of videos. But what these kids are saying is, what's nice about this trend is it's not just getting me to hang out with my friends, but it's getting me to meet new people. It's like it's forcing everybody to be in this public space where the whole point of being there is not to eat pudding with fork.
Well, it would be for me though, because I really like pudding and I don't mind eating it with a fork, so I'm fucking down.
It's not as, I mean, sorry Germans, it's not as quirky as you think it is.
It really isn't. It's almost so stupid that it's like sweet that they think that it's.
Yeah, I have this crazy idea.
Yeah.
Why don't we go into a park
Exactly.
and we eat pudding, but we do it with a fork?
It's so stupid silly.
It is a pretty funny idea.
Which makes it very sweet.
It is very sweet, but I think that's part of its charm, right? Is
Yeah.
that there is this innocent sort of playfulness about it.
Well, also some of the tubs of pudding, you guys, are huge.
So pudding might be, I don't know, maybe in different parts of America pudding is a thing, but pudding in LA, it's like not, we don't really eat pudding. Like
I do if it's banana
cream pie.
Banana cream pie-y kind of pudding. And I actually...
Okay, but when's the last time you had it?
Well, I have it every time I go to the Magic Castle because they have really good...
Which was, what, 2 years ago? Okay, that's my point.
I don't know.
So,
but sometimes I buy it from the store. I do.
Chat, she's lying. I've never seen her buy pudding. Ever. But think of it like, just little cups of yogurt. That's not what they're eating. They're eating, like, there's some shots where if you're looking closely and it's just like news stories narrating shit. But if you look closely, these kids are like gathered around a campfire, but instead of a campfire, it's like a Home Depot bucket full of fucking pudding.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Vats of pudding.
Yeah, and they're just kind of like scooping it out, and everybody's got their forks. Some of them
Was
are
it mostly
really...
chocolate?
No, there's I saw some yellow puddings, which are usually banana.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I saw other colors, flavors. There's probably a vanilla.
Butterscotch?
Butterscotch, that's a good one.
God,
but
are we gonna have pudding after this? I'm getting.
We should. Some of the kids even went so far as to bring what would normally be called like a trident and not a fork. So like
a spear,
like an old school 3-pronged thing, like just to be even quirkier,
Oh my gosh.
But what I like about this trend is that it is, the whole point is a social interaction. And the basis of the trend is the icebreaker, right? Like, you could just go and just talk to strangers about how stupid this is, that we're standing here in a park talking to each other, eating pudding with a fork. That's all you need to get a light, fun, refreshing conversation going with another human being.
Yeah.
And so that was the inspiration for the episode. And so I wanted to talk about not only that trend, but other trends that are similar in that they can be facilitated by online interaction or stem from online interaction, but ultimately are getting people together.
Yeah. And social media is really particular in that it enables a viral trend like this in a way that previous, especially like something that's all over the world kind of thing. Like this is in Germany, but there are certainly trends that we're going to talk about that have spanned all over the world at this point. And the only way that that's possible is for a person to have a device, share it, and then either hashtag or connect with a movement that's going on online. And this is kind of like the most fun, silly, positive way that these kinds of things happen.
Yeah. And actually what one of the news stories I saw about the pudding with a fork was that they, advertised it or promoted it with a flyer, like a piece of paper on a telephone pole or something old school like that. No doubt the kids were sharing stuff digitally and on social media, but That was another little bit of information that I really liked about this was that it allegedly started with a poster, like a physical piece of paper saying,
"Nice,
come to the park at this time and eat pudding with me and with a fork, or eat a pudding with a fork with me," or something, something crazy like that. So,
and it requires a bit of preparation, right? Like you have to bring the right
Forethought.
things. You need to know the pudding that are you going to be creative with your pudding? How big are you going to go? Like, you can't just show up. You got to bring stuff.
Yeah. And I will say park and like cafe culture, if you will, in Europe is a little bit different than LA, because everything's a little bit tighter, like more condensed. I'm sure maybe somebody listening is like, yeah, New England is like that, or like parts of the East Coast or something. That's fine. I don't have that much experience with the East Coast of the United States. I do have some experience with Europe in general, and they definitely hang out in parks more. They definitely hang out in cafes and stuff. And so these news shots of these kids in this park, everybody's picnicking. It's not just everybody just kind of like standing around not really knowing what to do. It's like they know how to, chill in a park. So
yeah, it also feels very German.
It does. It does. But yeah, so what are some American versions?
Well, the one I'm most familiar with that probably everybody is, and we've seen a bunch of times, but if you think of the flash mob sort of like dance things that have happened, that's happened all over the world. But one thing I like about it, like slightly different than something like putting in the park, is that it does require a lot of preparation. So a group of people are, preparing something to surprise the public. But what happens in the situation and why it's so great is because really what we're doing when we watch this on social media is looking at the reactions of the people there being surprised. You almost never look at the audience when you're looking at a dance show, right? So you're watching the dance and you're thinking how great it is. The whole thing about a flash mob in public in surprise is that you're suddenly looking at the public having an experience together. So it's not something that it's like there's flyers around and like, hey, there's going to be a flash mob at 12 p.m., right? It's something that a group of people have done in order to surprise the public and like have this spontaneous thing. And then, yes, you want to capture it and share it. And you basically like create art spontaneously with unsuspecting public members.
Yeah. Unsuspecting members of the public that are not being, it's not like a mean prank. They're just being entertained harmlessly, But you're right. I never thought about that the flash mob videos, the whole point of those really is to see the joy and the reaction on people's faces, which is unique to the art of the performance.
Yeah.
Because like the performance is the art. It is the point of the performance in almost every other case I can think of, except for these flash mobs. The flash mobs, then, the performance is the point, but only for the people in present, and then the video is for the reaction of the people. I don't know. It's just this really interesting layered thing.
And in the dance world, I will say, like, one thing that was really sweet about this is that a lot of times the types of dancers and the types of dance that are performed are not something that require super high level dancers. This is something where they're trying to get people from a diverse background to participate in something really big together. And that's also, I think, why it kind of can be included in something like this, because someone that just like danced when they were young could be like, oh, I want to be part of the flash mob. And it's like really easy steps. And again, the point is surprise, not to impress with your dance moves. It's that so many people were able to coordinate this thing in public together. And it's such a large number of people who volunteer to do this thing. I mean, that it is so different than like a normal performance. And so coming from like an actual performing background, I've actually never performed in a flash mob situation, but I do really think it's sweet and appreciate it because it's a totally different mindset of how you might appreciate a performance happening in a public space. I did something slightly similar one time.
I was going to say, didn't you do a mini flash mob?
Yes, kind of. When I first moved to LA and I had a great group of very creative, cool people around me, and they weren't, I mean, I kind of made my name in college for working with people that were non-dancers, and I worked with actors. I worked with people that had movement intelligence, let's say, but not necessarily technical dance. I also worked with very lovely technical dancers, but I loved working with sort of people that just had a sense of their bodies or movement or had really great ways of expressing through movement.
Is that like an artistic way of saying hand-eye coordination? coordination?
No, because like if you ask someone to do a creative thing with their body, the first thing you need is open-mindedness and willingness. So if you have someone who's really good at sports, but they hate dance and they don't want to move, they're not going to be part of a project like this, right? They probably have really great hand-eye coordination, but I don't want to work with them because what I need is them to transform kicking a soccer ball into a clown that just had a bad day, you know, and they need to be open to like interpreting what that means and then changing that movement into something that's totally different than the original context of that movement.
Plenty of soccer players know how to be a clown that had a bad day.
I'm just saying, you can imagine how an actor or a normal person actually can take their life experience and actually interpret it through their body.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to be a technical dancer. So anyway, I had this great group of creative friends, some dancers, some not. And each time we got together for sort of creative projects, one person would kind of lead the day, whether it was like a meditation or a painting project or whatever. And so when it was my day, I told everyone, we're all going to find a prop and we're going to perform on the crosswalk at Highland and basically like kind of by the Hollywood Bowl where like all the cars are coming into Hollywood, downtown Hollywood.
And Vine?
It wasn't Vine. No, it's closer to the Bowl. So like more like Hollywood and Highland.
Okay.
Like right above that, right? Because I used to live by the Magic Castle, kind of, for those of you who know, for like 6 years. I lived in that like heart of Hollywood kind of area. And so everybody went out and we kind of coordinated our like props and outfits just like on the fly. And we would wait for there was this really long light with this big crosswalk, and we would just go and do these like silly fun performances on the crosswalk for unsuspecting people waiting in their cars, and then just like disappear to the other side and then just wait for the light to turn again. So it was sort of like that.
Yeah.
Sort of like that.
Yeah. There's less strangers, fewer strangers involved, and it's more about doing something fun with your friends, which is totally okay.
Yeah. And I realize that some people are probably listening and thinking, that's dangerous. And you know what? You're right. It was.
Thanks, Mom.
And it was awesome. I mean, I saw someone actually doing this in the crosswalk. They were like juggling this. Actually, they were a really good juggler. Obviously, they were doing it for money and we were not doing that. But like that surprise as you're waiting in your car and you just look over and someone's doing this beautiful juggling act in the middle of the crosswalk, that feeling of like silliness and surprise, you could see how a viral trend like that could take off.
Yeah. Did you get anybody that tried to give you money? Like, oh, here you go. Here's $1.
No, we just got some smiles
lady.
and honks once in a while. We didn't do it that many times. It was a short exercise for the night, right? It was kind of to get everyone these
out of their comfort zone.
Out of their comfort zone and just it was for us to have an experience and for other people to have an experience.
Yeah.
If you'd never performed before, I was like, great, we're going to perform for some cars right now.
Okay. Very cool.
So flash mob dances, that was sort of my, I definitely loved them. And they went all over the world and they went into really like iconic spaces after a while. They got so big that
the Harlem Shake was kind of like that, but it's sort of like a flash mob, but not really. I really enjoyed that trend. I thought that was a lot of fun. I don't know why. It was just like this weird, goofy song, and this even goofier trend of people just going crazy in the strangest places. Anyway,
I love that stuff. I love when people are trying to do a move and they share it. I mean, of course, dance background, but like, yeah.
Similar to the flash mob, I think some of us have seen these trends where it's like a flash cleanup. So people are like, let's get together and clean this stretch of beach, say. And so instead of flash mobbing and dancing, they're flash mobbing and picking up trash.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
It is. And your example that you have, Sweden and the Netherlands totally one-upped a lot of groups because they don't just go and clean up trash, right?
Yeah. We're not going to just clean up the trash.
Great accent. I'm sure they love you now. No. So you don't just get together and clean up the environment. That's not enough.
No, we need to jog.
We need to be
doing
jogging.
it.
We need to run.
And
Let's run.
What do they call it? Plogging.
Plogging.
I should have looked this up. Like, what is I wonder if it's a Dutch word that is mixed with jogging. Like,
don't ask me. It made sense when the second I saw it, I was like, they call it plogging. Okay, sure, yeah.
Because we're picking up trash.
Yeah, exactly. No, but isn't that so funny? Like the thought of making, like they're kind of gamifying it, or at least if I think of it from an American perspective, like first of all, you'd have to get people that were like,
I'm willing to jog and
pick up trash. Like two things that most people are like, do not want to do on my time off. Right?
Yeah. Very low on my to-do list.
But imagine, like, I feel like the U.S. version might be like parkour. You know what I mean? Like parkour trash pickup. Let's go.
Yeah. I could totally see that. I mean, we need some of these kinds of flash mobs in some parts of the city for sure.
You want to get real hardcore parkour? Pick up trash.
Or it's like push up, pick up.
Push up, pick up with your teeth.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Hegseth would be into it.
Hegseth is into anything that a drunkard would be into. Just get him enough shots of whiskey and he'll do it.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like the U.S. would do something. Just jogging and picking up trash is so Netherlands, Sweden to me.
Yeah.
Americans would need a little edge to it.
Yeah. Got to do a push up every time you pick up trash.
I mean, I thought parkour was a great idea.
Push and pick up.
You do a backflip over the side of a building while picking up trash.
Pick and push.
Yeah.
Pick and push.
That's a great viral trend that I don't think, again, will come to America unless it's a little bit more edgy, but I like it for them.
Yeah, and it also works better in European cities, I think, because they're more small.
Do they film themselves doing it, or it's just an in-person trend that has nothing to do with social media?
I mean, how can you jog and pick up trash and film yourself?
I know. GoPros.
At the same time.
GoPros.
Maybe.
Actually, that does make it way more fun and funny.
If they're filming themselves while doing
with GoPros, like if they're
like super decked out.
Yeah, super
and
decked
they have
out.
like slow-mo shots of somebody like running by and just like slowly grabbing the piece of trash as they go. And you have wipeouts where they like run by, try and grab it and like miss.
Someone's trash breaks and someone else has to pick up all their trash. I don't know. We're getting into it. Okay, so yay for them. Now, outside of these sort of more, these are really like physical, but then we started to get into examples that really combine the basic fundamentals of social media and what it is with action in the real world.
Yeah. One of the first things that came to my mind when I was thinking about topics for this show, in line with the pudding with a fork, was Pokemon Go. And
you've always talked about loving this.
I had such a good time. So, as we have mentioned, Carrie and I are both 40, so we're older millennials, which means we were a little bit too old for Pokemon when
I would say
first.
Way too old if you're talking about me.
A little bit, just a little. Just a little bit too old for when Pokemon came out, for the most part. But I have younger cousins that got into Pokemon, right? And they played the original Game Boy, Pokemon on Game Boy and everything like that. And I think it was red or blue or whatever it was. Anyway, we played that. Donnie and I played that. And that's how I got into Pokemon. And so I got familiar with the first gen of Pokemon. And what was nice about Pokemon Go when it first came out was that it was just first generation Pokemon, which has the broadest reach, broadest appeal. So people like me got into Pokemon Go because it was just this like huge shot of nostalgia. You know, you're going around in your neighborhood, literally looking for the Pokemon of your childhood.
Can I make like some sort of parallel so that I feel like I understand?
Sure.
Is this like if it was like the OG Disney movies for me or something, where it's like, oh, like Sleeping Beauty and The Beast and 101 Dalmatians?
Yeah, think of it like, okay, you've got to catch all of the seven dwarves are the Pokemon,
exactly.
Right? You know who they are.
Right.
And you have familiar feelings about them and warm feelings, like positive memory association, right? Because it was your childhood. It was a happy time when you're watching Disney movies, happy time when you're playing Pokemon, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the thing that was nice about Pokemon Go for that short, brief period when it was fresh and it was new, you would be driving around and you'd see just this cluster of adults with their phones kind of standing around looking at their phones, sort of talking or whatever. And I just remember having those experiences in these public places with a bunch of strangers that were all there to fight at that gym or that, Pokestop or whatever it was in that physical location. And it was just a nice way to get out there and interact with people. In fact, on campus at UCLA had a bunch of these Pokestops where you would go in the game. You had to physically go, right? It's the GPS thing. So you physically go to these buildings or spots on campus, and because the density of players at UCLA is so high, there would always be people there. And so when they were introducing these kinds of new features and stuff, I remember one day we found a Pikachu in Powell Library, and I texted my students at the time because all of them were playing, all my student employees, and I was like, you guys, if you're working right now, come to Powell Library. There's a Pikachu here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they didn't get in there in time, but I'm the one that caught it.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I don't know how the game works, but I'm imagining that was a good day.
Yeah, no, it was a good day. And that was the other thing I hadn't thought about, that it was like a kind of a bridge between generations too, because the Gen Z students that I was working with at the time were also into it. Like it was this kind of intergenerational sort of moment. This like flash in the pan moment where, the world didn't seem so crazy and everybody was just having a good time being outside, interacting with people.
Pokemon obsessed people finally going outside. My memory of that time, my like small knowledge of who was doing it was that it was mostly younger people, but then older people would sort of like sheepishly admit that they were into it. That's my memory.
Oh, I got nothing sheepish about it. In fact, the lanyard on my work key ring, have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
It's a Pokemon
We live
lanyard.
together.
Do you know why it's a Pokemon lanyard? It dates back to this time.
Yes, I do, because you love playing Pokemon with your nephew.
Yes.
Well, your own version of it. He basically plays Pokemon Go, but with imaginary Pokemon in the backyard.
Yeah, it's an imagination game. That's what it's supposed to be. But
your nephew
is
like psychotic for it.
But he's like 5,
yeah,
and so he's like he's not quite at that age where it works anymore. So he's like, that's not a Pokemon, that's a rock. And he just looks at me like I'm the biggest dumbass in the world. It's like, all right, buddy. Well, I know it's a rock, but anyway.
But you took that. I mean, I wonder if the imagination games that you play with him with Pokemon, I mean, it feels like it was kind of inspired by that. You guys should have seen Douglas show up one day. He had like all this fake Pokemon hunting gear on. He like got all the funniest things, binoculars and any sort of weird little gadget that he could pretend was like a go-go gadget sort of Pokemon hunter thing. And he showed up like friggin', like go-go gadget for Pokemon. And your nephew has never, ever dropped the subject since
true.
that day.
Every time he sees me, he wants to go hunting for Pokemon.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with. I'm okay with being the Pokemon hunting uncle.
So that social trend was so incredibly positive. I mean, this is years later and it's still sort of inspiring things.
Yeah, I'm curious. Leave a comment if you're listening to this and you still play Pokemon Go, and let me know what it's like. If it's still as social as it used to be, or if it's just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what it is anymore. Let me know.
I definitely don't know what it is anymore. Okay, I want to talk about a funny one that has to do with being present online and knowing what trends are for sure, and then trying to do those trends yourself and failing. Yes, I am talking about the Pinterest fail. For a hot second, it was mostly like cakes and foods that were like gorgeous and beautiful, and like suddenly people started posting their fails for trying to recreate these like perfect things online, and the fails were so good. And whether it was like I was really trying to do this right, but I failed, or like I'm going to create a fail on purpose because it's funny, I don't care. Right. They were all so funny to me. Yeah. And they require you to like interact with the trend online, but then also like try and do something yourself. And then the fails are so funny, especially if it's supposed to be like an animal and it's all melted and it looks like a demon now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Or
like a cartoon character. It's supposed to be SpongeBob or something, but it just ends up looking like a like you said, a demon or something.
Yeah, the baking ones were especially funny. So I like the Pinterest fail because you had to interact online. Now, I will say this is one of the weaker examples only because you can do a Pinterest fail all by yourself, and it's not a super like community connector sort of thing. You're not necessarily going outside your living space, but I do feel like a lot of work has to be put into even the fail, and I really like that about it.
Well, and I mean, to be fair, I'm looking at the list now, and I think every single trend that we have, you could technically do it by yourself, but that's not the point of something like the Pinterest trend. I don't think the point of the Pinterest fail trend, I should say. The point of that is to, like you said, to go do something, maybe learn or pick up a new skill, try a new hobby. The first couple pieces of loaves of bread that I tried to bake.
Oh yeah,
they're not funny looking fails, but they are fucking fails.
Yeah.
Like they were bad. They were bad, but it was fun, and I learned the process, and that's the point. It's not about doing this stuff like on your own in a dark corner of your apartment or something.
Yeah. Yes. So my big fun one was like the Pinterest fails, which I probably could have participated in. I don't think I've ever done specifically a Pinterest fail, and if I did, I probably didn't post it. But I also don't try to bake complicated things. I'm a box cake person.
Yes, and the box cakes are delicious.
They are.
Similar to the Pinterest fail is the trend that I was going to talk about was the recreating art.
That's a good one, though. That's a good one.
But it was similar to the Pinterest fail. It could be done solo. But for those of you who don't know, this was in the beginning of the pandemic, or I don't know if it was the beginning, but it was during lockdown. And so trends were like, what the fuck can we do with ourselves while this is happening? And there was this trend of posting a picture of yourself recreating some famous work of art in some stupid way. My brother and sister-in-law did this, and I think I can sort of see the image of my brother wearing what's supposed to be a toga, but it's very clearly just a bed sheet.
Yeah.
And like holding fruit, and it was like it's supposed to be this like Renaissance satyr dancing, holding fruit or something stupid, but it's just him like in that pose holding an orange or something. I think I'm remembering that correctly. Donnie, if you're listening, leave a comment and let me know what it was. This is a test to see if my brother listens to this.
You're going to be disappointed. Oh my God.
But that was another fun little trend because that usually I think involved another person. That was like a good fun kind of couples trend. And you saw some good couples ones there too,
Yeah. Things that involve costumes, makeup, scenery.
Something fun and creative, just something that helps you, I don't know, just be a fucking goofball for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just, take the piss and relax. And
for sure. I do love those. And even ones that are trying to create, like one of my favorite dance ones, big surprise, is when dancers try and like recreate something but in movement with costume or whatever. So it's like, a candle melting, and then they'll like try and recreate it in a weird dance thing.
No, you know what, my favorite one, I've sent this to you, and I still, every time it comes up on my feed, I watch it multiple times and I fucking love it. It's this woman in green, and she's dancing like this parrot is dancing. And it's just like, and it's like Marvin Gaye playing or something in the background or something weird. I don't know. It's just, it's brilliant, and I love it.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff, it's wonderful.
And a lot of that stuff, like, depending on what it is, it does take a lot of thought and creative effort and stuff, and then planning. They share it online, and there's a point to it. It's a little bit different than like the community building, but I still appreciate it quite a bit.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so now we're getting into sort of like fundraising community stuff. Everybody our age would remember
the ice bucket
challenge. This was the first really viral fundraising.
Is that true? I think that feels true. That feels like it's true.
It was the first time it really happened like that, where
it's one of the origins of the word viral, I think, right?
Maybe?
I don't know about that, but like feels like it because it was an very early trend.
Yeah, and it started off. It caught fire really fast. So this is when they were trying to raise money. It started off as raising money for people with ALS, and the idea was you would film yourself pouring a bucket of ice water over your head, and then, you know, the reaction or whatever. And the point was to raise money for something. But the trend got so big that people started like not realizing really the fundamental like reason why people were doing it. And actually in my circle, one of my closest friends, one of her ex-boyfriends, his dad died of that eventually. And so when he did it, at the height of the sort of silliness of it, he actually like submerged himself in a whole bathtub of ice, and it was actually really like poignant and beautiful and silly but serious because it was really real for him. And that kind of broke through in this really poignant way. But yeah, it was like one of those fundraising trends that somebody brilliant was like, let's get people to like do a hilarious thing that, you know, just asking for money, which I've done many times for trying to fundraise for things, is a really hard thing. So if you can gamify it or gimmick it with social media and make people do something, it's great. I mean, even how do you feel about like asking for money? Like when you're doing a try, you usually raise money for a good cause. Yeah. But you kind of do that before, and you're like asking, you're saying, I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah. For me, it helps, especially with this last try in Santa Barbara, where it was a slog, and I was struggling during portions of it, really struggling. And I'm not ashamed to say that thinking on those donations helped motivate me. I didn't want to have to say, you know, if somebody asked, like, how did it go? And I'd have to say, I didn't finish, you know, like it was just one of those things. Like, I think, there is that selfishness to it. So I'm asking for donations because I need help, like pushing me to the finish line or whatever. But it's also just, it's a good way to earn a donation. Same way that pouring a giant bucket of ice water is worth, that's worth $10 for me. Like if my mom said, you know, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to pour ice water on me. Maybe not my mom. You're a little too old, Mom. You got a heart thing now. It's like, just don't do the ice bucket thing. But Donnie, you should pour some ice bucket water on your head. Totally worth the $10, right? If I saw somebody that I know and that I care about and love or whatever doing something stupid like that for a cause, 100%. You've got, you know, $10, $20, whatever it is. Same thing with the triathlon, I think, you know?
Yeah.
It's like using people's goodwill in a fun way, you know, gamifying it, their goodwill in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so all these trends, I mean, I do feel like all of them are really, really positive. I've heard of some people trying to do things like this and then it going a bad way. Recently, I think there was This American Life re-aired an old episode where there's a guy who will like get people, improv actors together. I think it's called Improv Everywhere. And they like kind of pull these like non mean pranks on people, but no matter what, because it's a surprise, sometimes it doesn't go the way they think it will. Sure. So like throwing a surprise birthday party for a guy in a bar who doesn't know anyone, and it sort of like distorts people's reality when it's a stranger.
Yeah.
But they do things like this in real life. They'll like get all these improv actors to like do these skits over and over, or throw a birthday party, or like go support a band that has no fans, and suddenly they have like a room full of fans for the night. But all of them can have like kind of a dark side to them. For the most part, I think all of these have like really, really just positive vibes. And we need stuff to counteract that on social media, because I mean, you had said something really great about this whole sort of subject that we're talking about, which is that this was the promise of social media. Yeah.
That's kind of, that's where I kind of ended up, was like, this is what we were promised, you know. This is the smoke that Zuckerberg has been blowing up our asses all these years.
Yeah.
This is what we're supposed to be doing with these tools, you know. Is getting together with friends and family and strangers, making new friends, you know, all the positive social things about social media, not keeping up with the Joneses, not chasing likes or, you know, comparing your life to others. That's not social. That's just toxic.
Yeah. And I guess it's not that social media can't be like more than one thing, but
Sure.
it would be so great to have more of this.
Yeah.
And, this is where it actually, quote, works, is when it is this sort of tool for joy. And
Not a tool for getting more children to eat Tide Pods. That's not a good trend.
somebody thought that was a great trend. Somebody.
Fuck.
Well, and so I think one of the things I've been thinking about too is like, we preach a lot, especially me coming from the dating world, we preach a lot about making sure that you have a balance of like entertainment and then in-person interactions with other humans that are in real spaces, not just on screens and not just online, not just Zooms, that you try very hard to balance that with in-person, biologically interacting with other humans.
Smell those pheromones, people.
Yeah, and there's something that's a little bit bittersweet about the era that we're going into, because there's AI videos that are just so convincing now that you can think something's real and that somebody did something in real life or that something happened on a screen. And then I'm having lots of doubts about what's real or not. I mean, a large percentage of what we're seeing that we think is really, oh, that's so crazy. Is that real? It's probably not now. So when something asks you to do something in real life and then you actually go out and do it, you get that real experience. And then it doesn't really matter if the social media aspect is like working or not, because the real value comes from the fact that you did it in real life.
Yeah.
So.
Totally. The call to action? What is the call to action?
What do you think the call to action is? It's got to be so obvious.
Troll people online. Leave mean comments on people's Facebook.
Just use social media for the shittiest reason possible. Spread lies. Just sit there and never go outside.
Revenge porn is a good one.
No. Try to participate in a positive social trend. That is our call to you, dear listener.
Yeah.
Be like all of these folks.
Viewsinners.
Our viewsinners. I don't know if that's going to catch on.
I'm going to try and make it catch on.
No.
Viewsinners.
The next time one of these things happen and it's positive, jump on board, see what you can do. Yeah. And, even if you start a new one, what was the new one I was just talking about starting?
Potato
Friends.
Potato Friends.
It's brilliant. Let me just tell you a little bit about it. Zuckerberg wants you to have AI friends.
That's right.
I think everybody should start showcasing their potato friends. I think we should draw things on them and give them little wigs. I think we should. It's kind of like the Flat Stanley book, where everyone had to bring Flat Stanley everywhere, and then Flat Stanley goes with your aunt in Texas, and she takes a picture, and then she mails Flat Stanley. You don't know this book?
No.
Oh my gosh. There's a great children's book called Flat Stanley, and it comes with a little Flat Stanley guy, and then you have to give Flat Stanley an adventure through people, and it gets mailed all over the place. They probably don't do this anymore because we live in a sad world. We're going to look this up. So Flat Stanley is one, but then the other thing is that this is a positive social trend. Flat Stanley, I just thought of it.
It sounds great.
It was wonderful. Whoever wrote that book and had that idea is great.
Send a Flat Stanley to your aunt.
I'm sure I got one, and I'm sure I sent one when I was young. Anyway, try and participate in a social positive trend. That is our call to everyone. There's so much darkness out there right now. I feel it every day. You feel it every day. Indeed. I see it on my feed every day. And God, if Jane Goodall had anything to say about it, she believed that everyone had an impact on the world and could do something every day. And I definitely believe in that.
Yep.
So we could add a little positivity out there. Let's start some social trends and get those going.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. Also share it with people, that you think might need to hear this message. Hit us up on socials. We love to engage with you. Leave us those comments.
In fact, if you have it in you, if you're listening instead of watching, if you're listening on either Spotify or maybe Apple Podcasts, give us a little review. Say something nice. If you really like the energy that we're bringing, we could really use those reviews early on. Those really make a difference. And then, on YouTube, we do love a good comment on there. I wouldn't mind seeing some flame wars on our comments.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Okay.
Just like get a little spicy action in
It's
there.
kind of like some P.T. Barnum, like any news is good news. Just spell my name right. I don't care what you
Positive
say.
flame wars? I don't know. I'm like
right.
making shit up. All right. So People Fuss is a tight-knit production produced by yours truly, Carrie Prince.
And Doug Daniels.
With editing and marketing supervision by Mary Wen. And our theme song is Human Colors by Delicate Beats. The fun fact for the day about Kiko and Yoshi.
When we are in bed at night, Kiko comes to cuddle with us, and she gets really excited and relaxed, and she starts purring really loudly and drooling, and then she'll drool too much, and she shakes her head to get the spittle off of her face, and it flies into our face.
Yeah, I'm sure cat owners can relate to that, so we just wanted to share that with you and say we feel you. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. See you next time.